The game is Dusk City Outlaws. It is a tabletop role-playing game where the players play a crew of thieves that are brought together to pull off a heist or a long con or some kind of caper. They're given this job and they have to plan it, do all the legwork to set everything up, and then execute that heist. I'm Rodney Thompson. I am the founder of Scratchpad Publishing. I was on the core design team for the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. I was the lead designer of the Star Wars role-playing game Saga Edition product line. I've co-created several board games, including Lords of Waterdeep. All that time, I was always working on other people's games, other people's projects, other people's ideas. And then eventually I kind of realized, I want to do something that is my creation, something that I set the vision for, something that I come up with on my own and put out there for people to play. And so Dusk City Outlaws represents the first opportunity that I've had to put something out there that is completely my own creation. The game is a total sandbox. There is no right way to pull off the job. There is no correct answer to any question of how should we do this? It's all up to the players to come up with that plan all their own.
During the planning phases, you have an actual timer, a timed element.
You have merely one day to pull off this job. You guys have a place to do your planning. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer and let you guys get rolling.
Once the planning phase is done, then you go straight into legwork. Figuring out how the plan is going to come together, getting the various elements into place, making contacts, that kind of thing. You can take any approach you want to. If you want to bust into a tavern and just start punching guys out till you get the answers you want, you can do that. Or you can go into a casino and start spreading around money and get the answers that way.
Character creation is fast, it's sleek, it's streamlined. Basically the way it works is you're going to create a character based on two main aspects. One of those aspects is your cartel. There are 8 cartels, they're all really colorful and exciting. They all have their different motives and motifs. The other part of your character is your specialty. Now your specialty is what you're good at, what you do on the job. That can be anything from assassin or brawler or alchemist. You are combining cartel and specialty, and that forms everything you need to know about your character. I actually have worked really hard to make sure that as a player, you never have to reference a rulebook during play. Everything you need is on one of the 2 sides of the sheets that are in front of you. Joy has created some characters that are vivid and colorful, diverse in their representation, and also really interesting and exciting and welcoming. And every time I see one of her new pieces of art, I'm always like, oh, that's my next character. That's the one that I'm gonna play. The judge is responsible for reacting to everything that the players do. See, the judge has a resource called heat. It basically represents the reaction of the city to what the players are doing. So as they commit crimes, as they disturb the peace, obviously the citizens of the city are going to be reacting to that. And when the heat pool builds up, the judge can then spend it to introduce complications. So I'm going to spend 12 heat, which is everything that you guys have accumulated up to this point. And I'm going to introduce a new character, a man that you recognize as a dredger. The dredgers are sort of like the Pinkertons of the setting. So the game uses a simplified narrative dice system. You use percentile dice to determine success and failure. But then there's also these other dice, these advantage and challenge dice. They represent positive and negative circumstances surrounding the action that you're about to take. And when you roll the dice, it creates a broader spectrum than just success or failure. It means you can have success with an upside or success with a downside. You look at the results and then you create this narrative moment in the game based on how those dice fell out. I'm going to go ahead and give you 1 advantage die because you are so big and tough. However, I'm going to give you 2 challenge dice because this door is not only made of sterner stuff, but also it is secured and there are deadbolts and locks that are really, really tough to kick down.
And I did get a drawback
All right.
but I did succeed.
It looks like you kicked in the door right at a shift change, and now there are actually 3 private security officers back here. I'm really excited to see what kinds of capers and heists people come up with, what kind of scenarios that people design on their own.
I think the biggest strength of the game actually is that no 2 crews will do a job the same way.
That's what I'm really excited about, to see what people do. And they're going to do things that I'm going to look at and say, man, I wish that I had done that because that's a really cool idea.